It was another typical morning at Crestwood Academy, a prominent school in Austin, Texas. The corridors buzzed with students. Some gathered in clusters, chatting, while others scrambled to complete last-minute homework. For Ethan Carter, however, the day began with a nagging sense of unease. Ethan stood out from his peers. Unlike most who hailed from families of physicians, attorneys, and entrepreneurs, he was the grandson of a farmer. His hands bore the roughness of early morning farm chores, and his boots carried a subtle scent of earth. A reserved boy, his quiet demeanor often made him a target for mockery. As Ethan stepped into the classroom, he caught the disapproving glance of Miss Langley, his history teacher. Known for her lofty expectations, rigid rules, and an air of superiority, she intimidated even the boldest students. The lesson started, but Ethan struggled to concentrate. Rising at dawn to assist on the farm had left him drained, and his weary mind couldn't keep pace. When Miss Langley called on him to answer a question about the Civil War, he faltered, searching for words. "Mr. Carter," she snapped, arms crossed, "if you focused more in class instead of whatever you do out in those fields, perhaps you wouldn't humiliate yourself." The class snickered. Ethan's throat tightened, but he remained silent. "Honestly," she pressed on, "I see no point in wasting time on students who clearly aren't suited for academics. Perhaps you should stick to what you know, tending pigs and plowing dirt." The room fell quiet. Even those who had laughed moments earlier looked uneasy. Ethan stood, gripping his desk so tightly his knuckles whitened. His voice, though steady, carried resolve. "I may not be as book-smart as others," he said, "but that doesn't mean I don't deserve respect." Miss Langley smirked. "Then prove it. Otherwise, leave my classroom." The words stung, but Ethan didn't argue. He gathered his belongings and walked out, his heart racing. He had never felt so humiliated. The next morning, as sunlight bathed the school in a golden hue, something extraordinary drew the students' attention. The rhythmic thrum of helicopter blades echoed through the air. Teachers and students poured outside, their eyes widening as a sleek black helicopter touched down on the school's football field. A tall, poised man in a crisp suit emerged, William Carter, Ethan's grandfather. He was no ordinary farmer but a renowned figure in Texas, celebrated for his vast farmland and thriving agribusiness. His innovations in sustainable farming supplied organic produce to elite restaurants and major grocery chains nationwide. Ethan trailed behind him, standing taller, his expression unreadable. As they entered the school, a heavy silence blanketed the halls. Even Miss Langley, rarely rattled, appeared visibly shaken. "I understand there was an issue with my grandson in your class yesterday," Mr. Carter said, his deep voice resonating through the corridor. Miss Langley blinked rapidly. "Mr. Carter, I assure you, I treat all my students fairly." "Is that so?" he cut in, producing a check from his coat pocket. "This school benefits greatly from the Carter Foundation. I funded the science lab you're so proud of and sponsor the history program you oversee. Yet you chose to belittle my grandson because of his roots." Miss Langley's face paled. "I raised Ethan to take pride in hard work," Mr. Carter continued, his gaze unwavering. "Perhaps you should learn the value of that instead of looking down on those who provide the food on your table." Whispers rippled through the crowd. Ethan, silent until now, stepped forward. "I don't want special treatment," he said firmly. "I just want the same respect as everyone else." Miss Langley nodded stiffly, unable to meet his gaze. "I understand. I apologize, Ethan." A satisfied smile crossed Mr. Carter's face. "Good. Because respect isn't granted based on wealth or status. It's earned through integrity and effort. My grandson has both." The students erupted in cheers, many nodding at Ethan with newfound admiration. From that day forward, Ethan walked the halls with confidence, not because of his grandfather's prominence, but because he had shown that dignity wasn't tied to money or grades, but to how one carried themselves in adversity. As for Miss Langley, she never belittled another student again. If you've read this far, comment respect first below and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories.